This video is on how to teach Chapter 3 from our Management for Church Leaders Volume Number 2 training. This chapter is on developing your communication skills. The purpose of this chapter is to identify different types of communication and how to be more effective at using them. This chapter might be a little bit longer, so you want to allow 60 minutes, maybe 75 minutes to do the training, and make sure you include time for the exercise at the end. The key points in this training are, first, that good communication is critical for effective leadership. Secondly, speak to be understood, not to be heard. This is the important part of communication. And third, good communication requires discernment and intuition. If you want to be an effective communicator, you have to discern where there might be problems and have some level of intuition about what might be causing those problems. Like the other chapters, this chapter begins with a scripture, and then there's a paragraph that that explains what's going to take place in this chapter. And you can read that or come up with your own words, whatever you feel is more comfortable. And then we begin with a question here as well. Ask the people in the class what they think communication is. And that gets the discussion going, and you can start talking about different things. Now, in this first section, we're going to talk about what communication is. We're going to define it. We're going to talk about different types of communication. We're going to talk about the biblical basis of communication, and that the Bible is a communication in and of itself. And we're going to talk about God's style of communication, which is two-way, which is sender and receiver. Then we're also going to talk about Jesus as being our primary role model for interaction and communication. So this is how this chapter begins, talking about what is communication. The next section, we move on to talk about principles of effective communication. And this is whether you're speaking or writing. And there are 4 key principles that we're going to bring out here that are very important. And number 1 is to be clear. Number 2 is to be concise. Number 3 is to be open. And number 4 is to be frequent. And you see the instructions in the trainer's manual, go through them. And I encourage you to use illustrations to demonstrate each one of these principles. In the manual, the next thing that happens is you have an opportunity to break the groups into smaller groups where they can discuss these communication styles. The last section in this chapter is about how to become a better communicator. And we talk about the 4 major forms of communication, which are conversational speaking, writing, giving a presentation to a group or a demonstration, and public speaking. So we talk about how few leaders excel in all forms of communication. We each have a style that maybe is more comfortable for us, but it's important to know what these 4 styles are and to use all 4 of them as best as you can, but you will generally be very effective in only one of them. Secondly, you need to show a genuine interest in people and their needs. As a communicator, you need to be in relationship with people. You need to have dialogue. And this is where a communication becomes much more effective if you're not just talking at people, but if you're talking with people. So make sure you stress that. Third, again, we talked about being discerning and intuitive. So you need to pay attention to the tone of your voice, the volume of your voice, the rhythm and the pace that you're speaking with. Pay attention to body language. When you look at people, you see, are they receiving what you're saying? Are they closed? Are they open to it? So we talk about these things in this section. You can watch for subtle signs and words that indicate agreement or disagreement. And that can help you as you teach this class on communication, how to structure your comments to meet the needs of the people that are listening to it. And again, be sensitive to your audience. Know their background. Are they churchgoers? Are they not churchgoers? What's their experience? Are they educated, uneducated? Can they write? Can they not write? These are things that you need to be aware of. That's what it means to be discerning and intuitive about your audience. And finally, we talk about being a good listener. As a communicator, it's not just about talking. People want you to listen as well. So you need to be a good listener. So you need to do the things that we talk about, such as acknowledge your interest in the speaker, ask questions if you need to clarify the message, don't interrupt, do not jump to judgment or be too quick to judge, and be humble. Do not be distracted either. Finally, there's an exercise on developing your communication skills. And this is another self-assessment where the student can go through the various things we talk about in this chapter and give themselves a rating and how well they think they do in these various attributes of good communication and what they can do to improve. Thank you for watching this video on Chapter 3 on improving your communication skills.